Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Just a quick update. Since Electrified is no longer daily for weekdays, I don't plan to provide that update on the community tab every day if there won't be an episode. I think the easiest solution for everyone is just to turn on notifications if you're concerned about missing an episode. And as I've said for a while, the reduced schedule is really just because of the news flow. I cannot bring myself to upload a video if there's not solid substance to talk about. And trust me, my bank account does not like this decision, nor does the YouTube algorithm. But I just feel like it's the right thing to do, as I want to be a channel where if a video goes up, then you all know it's worth watching, because I really am focused on trying to maximize my substantive material per minute. So thank you all for understanding, and of course for your continued support of Electrified. And yes, as far as it's up to me, I plan to continue Electrified for years to come. Sawyer reached out to the Arizona Department of Transportation, and they confirmed directly Tesla has met requirements to begin testing autonomous vehicles in Arizona with safety drivers. And Tesla has submitted a self-certification, basically stating that it's ready to begin testing in Arizona. To be clear, this is not to begin offering paid rides in any capacity in Arizona. This is just an approval for testing with a safety driver. And on the Arizona website, you will now see Tesla listed as a company that has submitted to test AVs in Arizona. Now, if you've been wondering, wait a minute, why would Tesla need this approval? They've already been testing and validating in Arizona now for weeks. And yes, that is true, but Tesla's been doing that testing under standard vehicle operation rules. The main distinction, the human driver in the vehicle remained legally responsible for the vehicle. Whereas now, with this new level of permission, Tesla is specifically testing under Arizona's autonomous vehicle framework. And here, the main difference, the legal responsibility is shifted to the automated system, even with a safety driver present. So Tesla has now moved from more casual data runs where the human in the car is responsible to now conducting more official AV trials where the actual FSD system is the one first responsible, and the safety driver is now just a backup. Now, whenever Tesla decides to begin paid rides in Arizona, it'll likely be in the Phoenix metro area. That's cities like Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale, Glendale, Chandler, and of course, where we've seen Tesla testing, Tempe. And when might Tesla do that? Well, from here, they would still need a TNC permit, and something like that can be approved in a matter of just a few weeks. So I do think there's a realistic chance that sometime by the end of October, Tesla launches an initial pilot program in Arizona, perhaps invite only, just like it did in Austin. Now, on this topic, for the past few years, I have mostly belittled Tesla stock analysts on Wall Street. That's been well documented, and I do not plan on leaning on them for new Tesla insight now. But given what's going on with Tesla stock, I think it's worth pointing out how they're coming around. Baird has a Tesla stock price target of $548, and they said, "We underestimated the look-through in the core auto business. We now expect shares to outperform as Tesla's increasingly viewed as the leader in physical AI." So in short, they admitted that they've been wrong about Tesla to date. The problem is all of their upcoming catalysts are absolutely nothing new. They talked about next-gen Optimus, additional bots, entering new markets with the Robotaxi service, Elon's new pay package, the Tesla Semi, more affordable models, energy business growth. So clearly, if you've been following along, you don't need this air quotes analysis. And just to further drive this point home, in their note, they also said a catalyst was expanding the use of Dojo externally. So apparently, they did not get the memo about the fact that Dojo is no longer a thing, at least not as it once was. And Alex Potter from Piper Sandler upped his Tesla stock price target to $500, which was a $100 jump, but this was after a trip to China. He said, "We can see why Elon respects these fast followers so much. But when it comes to real-world AI, these companies still look to Tesla for guidance, not the other way around." In the words of one company, without Tesla going from 0 to to 1, we cannot go from 1 to 100. Bottom line, Tesla remains our top idea for investing in autonomous vehicles and robotics. He also said, it now seems FSD version 14 will be released any day, and we think this will prompt a higher multiple. Elon did chime in on this, saying China has many excellent companies in many industries. So just make sure you zoom out. These Wall Street analysts are yet again boosting their Tesla stock price targets after a major stock run-up. These guys are lagging indicators. They have been for years, and anybody that thinks differently really just isn't paying attention. They offer minimal value to the Tesla retail community that's further in the weeds than they'll ever be able to be. But they do influence the flow of billions of dollars, so I can't say they're irrelevant in general. They're just irrelevant to what we do here on this channel. The surfing cyber surgeon was talking about investing in Tesla this week and said the majority of our population does not know what's about to happen. As Elon said, this will be the biggest transfer of wealth in human history. Tesla will run autonomy. But Elon replied saying not transfer of wealth, creation of wealth. The pie will get much larger, the opposite of a zero-sum game. And how would this happen? Well, all of the things we've touched on for years. How robotaxis are going to transform the transportation economy as we know it. Lowering costs, expanding accessibility, unlocking these idle assets. And obviously, cheaper, ubiquitous transport would amplify economic activity. More deliveries, more tourism, thanks to easier and more affordable travel, and the list goes on. And then for Tesla stock owners and Tesla car owners, putting their vehicles on the fleet, seeing their own stock appreciate. And don't forget what Elon said in 2019, managing a small robotaxi fleet will be a career for many and much better than driving a single car. So that wealth creation will come from all of these ripple effects, and new industries and improved industries of course won't happen overnight, but a decade from now we'll look back and transportation will likely be unrecognizable from where it is today. On Tesla's website for the $7,500 tax credit, it says order by September 30th to qualify. Now, this should not be news, as a few weeks ago we talked about how there was an IRS change that just meant you could now place your order by September 30th and take delivery after that date and still qualify for the tax credit. So the reason this is circulating as news now is because Tesla has just confirmed that change on the website. As we discussed, as long as you have a contract in place and a down payment in place before September 30th, you should be good. And just to be clear, this new guidance from the IRS does not actually set a specific limit for when you have to actually take delivery, meaning theoretically you could take delivery in 2026 and still qualify. But remember, in that event, you would then be claiming the credit for the 2026 tax year. That's because you claim it on your tax return for the year in which you take delivery and place the vehicle in service. All that to say, if any of this applies to you, just communicate with Tesla over the next week plus as you order your vehicle to ensure that you will qualify. But Tesla confirming this on the website should help at least a bit to boost deliveries throughout the beginning of Q4, as there's likely to be a heightened order flow over the last week of Q3, given this confirmation on the website that all you need to do is place the order by September 30th rather than actually take delivery. Just to quickly clear the air, there was all kinds of misunderstanding and misreporting going on, and I think most of it stems from this article from Not a Tesla app that said Tesla scores a win as NHTSA adopts performance-based rules for autonomous vehicles. Basically, what they reported incorrectly was that NHTSA had moved from focusing on how cars are capable of certain driving tasks. Think hardware, sensors, LiDAR, cameras, mirrors, safety features, etc., to if cars can meet driving tasks. AKA, NHTSA was becoming hardware agnostic and just focusing on the car's capabilities, not what sensor suite it uses to do so. But again, what was the actual news? We talked about this at the beginning of September when NHTSA put out this press release. They said the FMVSS were written for vehicles with human drivers and need to be updated for autonomous vehicles. And the new rulemaking would address standards for vehicles with automated driving systems and no manual controls. But as you can see, see, for right now, it's only covering a handful of things: lamps, windshield wiping systems, transmission position sequences, and so on. But I'm not going to get into it again because we already covered it. Just know, at the end of the day, not a Tesla app was misunderstanding what those NHTSA releases were actually saying. In short, this new performance-based approach from NHTSA is not here yet. And shout out to Warren Redlick, because I believe he was the first one to actually call out this news as being fake. But again, to me, it wasn't as much fake news as it was just not a Tesla app doing lazy work from a journalistic standpoint, and ultimately jumping to some conclusions that were not accurate. All you need to know: nothing is different from the last time we talked about this. Yes, NHTSA is taking baby steps to move toward this federal autonomous vehicle framework, but for now, it really is still just baby steps. BYD did unveil what could be seen as a competitor to Tesla's recent Megablock announcement. BYD came out with the Han, a single-unit DC battery block with record-breaking capacity. BYD also touted a proprietary grid-forming inverter and advanced energy management system. The Han has a single-unit capacity of 14.5 megawatt hours. But look, the only reason I'm sharing this is to try to get everybody off the which is better thought process. Comparing Tesla's Megablock to BYD's Han is a foolish game, in my opinion, at this stage. All of these claims are largely marketing. We really need to wait for actual installations for both of these products. And there's so much we don't know. For example, does BYD's solution require any on-site assembly? Because Tesla's Megablock does not, it's going to ship fully assembled. And then just comparing the capacity figures, BYD's 14.5 megawatt hours is DC capacity, whereas Tesla touts 20 megawatt hours of usable AC capacity. So BYD's DC figure ignores inverter losses, which can be up to 10%, meaning its AC output might be 13 megawatt hours. For now, just know both solutions will have pros and cons, and Tesla is likely to be better in some aspects, and BYD is likely to be better in some others. So this which is better question will be situationally dependent on the use case. Tesla's solution is probably better when it comes to software and reliability and speed, and maybe BYD does have a cost and a capacity edge given it's making its own blade batteries in-house at scale. But ultimately, my main point is the battery storage market is still big enough for multiple players to win for many years to come. Tesla is likely to remain the dominant player in the US and Australian markets, and BYD will likely be favored by Chinese companies. But no worries, as once we get installations and third-party testing and some real-world reviews, we can revisit this discussion. I cannot tell you how many people I've had with the first question out of their mouth when they hear or see I have a Tesla, it's how does it handle in the winter? And I think understanding roller tests that Kyle Connor just did with the Lucid Gravity and some others is a good place to start.
Lucid Gravity on the rollers. Essentially what we're going to have here is, as you can see, the back wheels will be on those rollers, the front driver will be on this one, and it has to pull itself up this grade using cross-car torque vectoring by grabbing brakes with just that one on the plate. So Christian's going to pull it up here. You're going to see what happens with the front motor as soon as it hits these, but it's pushing with the rear. It'll soon come up where now all three are off, and now we just have that one tire with traction. Let's see how long it takes for it to get it up the grade. Pretty good. Not terrible. Considering there's no locking differentials, it did its job using the brakes. We've seen some other ones do it quicker, but honestly, a good success from the Lucid's drivetrain team there.
Kyle said for comparison, they could not get the Escalade IQ up to the actual testing spot where the three wheels don't have traction. So I would classify that as a fail. And then Kyle said, why is the Model Y so good at this?
Why is the Model Y the best car on the rollers today? It has the best drivetrain management out of anything here without locking differentials, front and rear. Some of the rear differential stuff we can't even get up because you can see it locks both rear when it gets to that point. So here's where you'll be able to see just that front right tire is the only one that's going to be able to pull it up once it gets to this second plate. Here's everything's about to come off. That rear tire is about to slip. And that one, this is the only tire with traction. So it's got to grab brakes and other sides, and then it just pulls it right up. That was the only tire that had traction, and it just grabbed that front left brake and sent the torque to the right. And it did it super seamlessly. It's so impressive.
So these roller tests that simulate scenarios like ice, snow, or even mud put some of Tesla's all-wheel drive system advantages on display. We know Tesla uses two independent electric motors, one for the front and one for the rear axle, which are controlled by software. And the software acts like a virtual differential, which allows instant and dynamic torque distribution between the axles. So it can be 100% to the front, 100% to the back, or any split in between. The main takeaway, a lot of the competition will still use mechanical systems, which oftentimes are more reactive and less precise. Not only that, but electric motors provide that instant torque delivery. So Teslas can apply that power right away and smoothly. It's been a while since we've talked about stuff like this, so I thought it was good to bring it up, especially since in North America, we're right around the corner from cold weather and snow. So if you guys get the how are Teslas in the snow question as much as I do, just remember independent dual electric motors for precision and that instant torque delivery, and it's all driven by Tesla's software that gets better with time and data. And there is far more on the braking side too, but I think this will suffice for the average inquiry. Tesla has updated and reset its referral program in the US and Puerto Rico. When someone uses your code, if they're buying a Model S, X, or Cybertruck, they'll get $1,000 off. That's up from just $250 before. If they end up buying a Model 3 or Y, they just get 3 months of free FSD. And then you, as the referrer, will get $250 for each referral, regardless of what vehicle they buy. So I think my referral link may be reset now, so I'll have it in the description below going forward in case you need one. And of course, as always, thank you guys for thinking of me for that. Plus, if you recently bought a Model S or X, they're reaching out to some of you to offer the Lux package for an additional $2,000. Of course, that $2,000 price is for people that have already purchased FSD. So those that bought an S or X before the Lux package was a thing, you'll still have the option to have that package. And in case you bought a Model S or X recently but have not yet received this offer from Tesla, I'd encourage you to reach out to Tesla directly if you're interested.
Franz, would you ever consider making a smaller version of the Cybertruck, or even an SUV Cybertrucky type thing, something smaller that might have more volume potentially?
Those are definitely all things that we've considered. I think wait and see is probably maybe the best way.
Darn it, I hate that answer.
You know, it's tough. We're working on so many really innovative and fun and great things into the future. And I would love to be able to share them. But
any plans to open a diner in New York?
Yeah, we've been talking about, diners located around the world. And so I think it's just a matter of stay tuned. We're checking it out.
You're sitting in what appears to be a multi-seat vehicle. Is that the Robovan?
I'm in the Robus, yes.
The Robus. Okay, so tell us about that. It's like a new mass transit vehicle. Are there plans to show it anytime soon?
Yeah, we showed this vehicle almost a year ago now at our 1010 event, which is really based around autonomy and the future of transport. And, this is it's a 14 passenger, up to 20 with standing room, autonomous van vehicle that really just transforms the vision of what it means to be moved around. This is, an idea of urban transport where it's not quite as personal as an individual cybercab robotaxi experience, but gets, cost per mile way down, allows the customer to have a fare for, 10 or 20 cents a mile, and really unlocks the ability for transport for people that maybe don't have the wherewithal, the ability to afford transportation now. This gets them, rather than bus stop to bus stop. This gets them closer to their destination, closer to their pickup spot, and just frees up transport for underprivileged folks. I think it's really going to revolutionize transportation, and that's one of our goals.
So that was Franz during an interview over the weekend with Bloomberg talking about the Robovan, which he called the Robus. Tesla now is calling out they're working on accessibility rides. For now, you can access wheelchair accessible vehicle rides, and they share Cap Metro and Lone Star Medical. But interestingly, Tesla did share a picture of the Robus. Now please do not get over your skis here. Tesla still needs to launch and ramp the Cybercab, but something tells me Tesla's Robus might be following that a bit sooner than many were expecting. Chris from Dirty Tesla said, "I did the thing and cleaned the glass in front of my cameras. Actually very easy, but still a fix in design or production should be implemented." Replying to that, Elon said this is a major area of focus. Ashish Kumar shared he decided to leave Tesla, saying it's been an incredible ride leading the Optimus AI team. We went all in on scalable methods, swapping the classical stack with reinforcement learning and scaling dexterity by learning from videos. AI is the most significant bit to unlock humanoids. Naturally, people were confused because Ashish was only at Tesla for just over 2 years. He went on to say the financial upside at Tesla was actually significantly larger, and this is presumably compared to his new job, which is a research scientist at Meta. He said Tesla's known to compensate pretty well way before Zuck made it cool. If I wanted to optimize for money, I would have stayed at Tesla. So if we take him at his word, this was not about money, but we're left wondering what this was actually about. As always, we will likely never know for sure, and it's unfortunate for Tesla to lose talent like this in the AI world from the Optimus team ahead of what we're expecting to be such an exciting time with version 3 and early production that will in time be Tesla's most important product ever. So listen, I do think it's fair and reasonable to have questions about this departure. It's not like he was at Tesla for 5 or 10 years. But at the end of the day, it does highlight a point I've been trying to make over the past few months, that these AI talent wars are a very real thing. Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett have officially sold all of their position of BYD. But some context, by June of last year, Berkshire had already sold almost 76% of its BYD stake. A year before that, Warren Buffett said BYD is an extraordinary company being run by an extraordinary person, but I think we'll find things to do with the money that I'll feel better about. Plus, we also have the fact that BYD shares increased about 3,900% during the years Berkshire owned them. And all year, we have been touching on some of the cracks at BYD, some of the red flags, and there really has been a long list of reasons why someone like Warren Buffett might be starting to question BYD's future from here. There was some reporting over the past week that Tesla was installing the world's first true V4 cabinet and stalls for a supercharging location in China. But I don't believe that's true, as Marco has said the world's first real V4 station is now under construction in Campbell, California. This was that reporting out of China I was talking about, but if you look at the picture they shared, it appears to be 2 cabinets for 8 stalls, whereas the true V4 setup is going to be 1 cabinet that covers 8 stalls. Porsche just warned its profits this year would be hurt by delays in its EV rollout. They cut profit margin guidance thanks to weaker demand and pressure in their key market of China, plus higher US tariffs. Porsche plans to delay some EV models in favor of hybrids and combustion engine cars. Porsche now expects its 2025 profit margin to be no more than 2%, down from a previously guided range of 5 to 7%. And now problems at Porsche and VW have fueled calls from shareholders and unions for Oliver Blume to end his dual role as CEO of both companies. Green the Only was yet again in the Tesla firmware, and he gave us some updates on this upcoming more affordable Model Y, dubbed E41. He said this car will have two audio options, essential and essential with commodity. The backup camera would lose the heater. There would be no airwave in the console. The fascia will be different. The fiberglass headliner will be simplified, as well as the cabin lighting. It'll be for the footwell only. The seating controls will be simplified. No power mirror folding, no puddle lamps, no glass roof, no second row display, no tire pressure monitoring system, and simplified 18-inch wheels. He said he thinks the suspension will also be getting a downgrade, and it looks like there will be rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive trims. Both have special motor configurations, though no idea what the motors would be. As we've been saying, I think these more affordable models will be launched by Tesla in October to help the Q4 sales numbers. And for what it's worth, Green the Only said it's almost like Tesla's already making these vehicles in significant volumes for all he knows. And he said that given that this type of information is already showing up in the firmware. Now, yes, it's true, vehicles in the United States are required to have tire pressure monitoring systems. But my expectation is Tesla would have a workaround of sorts and they would offer the bare minimum TPMS to meet the legal requirements. It would just be a system that's different than what Tesla offers now. But no need to get into the weeds here. We should have official information from Tesla within the next few weeks. And that's why I shared this, because I think it's encouraging that that time is right around the corner. Over the weekend, a new Tesla map update started going out, and I am curious if any of you received it, if you've seen improved FSD behavior. I have not yet had a chance to test this out in my area, but I plan to this week. This North American rollout is 2025.20. Joe Tetmeyer gave us an exciting update saying the first equipment deliveries inside Tesla's Cortex 2 facility are taking place. Seems like interior work is picking up with utility trenching, point installation, concrete pours, and now electronic cabinetry and equipment. As we've been talking about, Cortex 2 is likely to apply all of the learnings Elon and team over at XAI have taken from setting up Colossus and Colossus 2. Speaking of XAI, there was a report that XAI was raising capital. Elon said that's fake news. XAI is not raising any capital right now, but he said XAI will of course raise capital in the coming months, just not right now. Mike P said, I literally haven't driven my car in 10 months. Do you understand what's happening here? To which Elon said they don't understand yet, but it will seem obvious in hindsight. And this news from NVIDIA today, I think, has some pretty big implications on the AI industry. A lot of Tesla investors will overlook it because it may not have an immediate impact on Tesla, but over the next 10 years, I think it absolutely will. OpenAI and NVIDIA announced a letter of intent for a landmark strategic partnership to deploy at least 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA systems for OpenAI's next-gen AI infrastructure. NVIDIA intends to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI as the new NVIDIA systems are deployed. The first phase is targeted to come online in the second half of 2026. OpenAI will work with NVIDIA as a preferred strategic compute and networking partner for its AI factory growth plans. OpenAI and NVIDIA will work together to co-optimize their roadmaps for OpenAI's model and infrastructure software and NVIDIA's hardware and software. NVIDIA and OpenAI look forward to finalizing the details of this new phase of strategic partnership in the coming weeks. What we have here is NVIDIA investing into OpenAI and receiving an equity stake, and in return, the expectation is that OpenAI will effectively be locked in to the NVIDIA ecosystem and hardware. So the obvious question becomes, with OpenAI now being a preferred partner of NVIDIA, will other companies like XAI or a Tesla struggle to get NVIDIA hardware? And obviously, NVIDIA will never come out and say, you know what, yeah, that's true, other companies will be viewed as secondary options. But with a strategic partnership like this between NVIDIA and OpenAI, it certainly looks like NVIDIA is set to favor OpenAI in the AI race. And yes, it's true, NVIDIA made a small investment into XAI in its early days. But that small scale, arm's distance, VC type investment is very different than this deep integrated partnership that might see NVIDIA investing $100 $100 billion into OpenAI. This is one of those circular spending agreements where you have NVIDIA saying, hey, OpenAI, here's $100 billion of money as long as you keep buying our NVIDIA chips and you lock into our ecosystem. And replying to this story, Elon said, concerning. And people will argue that plenty of other companies are trying to challenge NVIDIA to take some of its market share, which in theory would make a deal like this less impactful for the rest of the industry if you had some other viable alternatives. But at least for now, in the foreseeable future, if a company like Tesla or xAI wants to have the frontier chips, there really is no other option outside of NVIDIA. So if NVIDIA, at least privately, starts prioritizing OpenAI, and these two companies effectively develop this partnership that really ties these companies together at the hip, then it's not hard to see why that would be a problem for the rest of the industry, given how reliant the AI industry is already on NVIDIA. So for now, this is just a letter of intent between these two companies. The details are not finalized, but certainly something to watch. I saw Sawyer point this one out, but Tesla now has 10 job listings posted on LinkedIn for roles in Colombia. So it looks like Tesla is preparing to launch operations in Colombia, which would be the second location in South America after Chile. And on a day where forgiveness was the overwhelming theme, it was a great sight to see Elon and Trump sitting next to each other, laughing, talking, shaking hands, and generally being friendly. Now, this doesn't mean Elon is getting involved in politics again, so everyone can remain calm, but in my opinion, the world will be better off if these two are cordial and in each other's corner, so I was very encouraged to see this. Tesla stock closed the day at $434.21, up 1.91%, while the NDX was up 0.55%. The volume was 14% above the average. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video. If you did, you can find me on X linked below, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.